If you didn't think that things would get worse for Chelsea, they just did. They've now lost 5 games in the Premier League without scoring a single goal. This is the worst run since 1912. This is a new low for the Blues. This is the Blue Coat Project. It's a couple years in. No Champions League so far this season, at least. That's what it's looking like. Most of the time that Blue Coat has been running this club, they've been selling you on a project, telling you that to trust the process, yet most of the time they're not contending for the Champions League. They look more like a mid-table team at best. And if you watch the Brighton game, it looks like the players gave up. They're not playing for Liam Rosenior at all. It looks like they don't believe in him. This team lacks any direction, any identity. And if you look at Nottingham Forest, Marinakis, they stacked Postecoglou in the tunnel. They didn't even let him get to the dressing room. And Liam Rosenior is still a Chelsea manager. And I think it's imminent. I think that Liam Rosenior has to go, and he likely will go, because I don't know how much longer Blue Coat can continue to watch this club sink further and further down the table. The only thing stopping them from sacking Liam Rosenior is admitting that they messed up, that they should have kept Enzo Maresca. They shouldn't have, sacked him because he was outspoken. They should have backed him when they had the chance. If you just compare a club like Man City, they bring in Semenyo Marguehi, and look where they are now. They're competing with Arsenal for the Premier League. And then you can look at a club like Chelsea, they just keep spiraling down. It's embarrassing to go to a club like Brighton and get humiliated that bad. We've been talking about how Chelsea and how they want to be like Brighton, they want to sign young players, but guess what? We've become Brighton. And actually, Brighton's having a better season than we are. And look, this is what happens when you sign young and experienced players. This is the results that you get. And everyone was saying, look, they beat Port Vale 7-0. And look where Chelsea is now. Just a mid-table team, a team that has a 20% chance of making the Champions League now? I'm going to get straight into the comments. Domino's Pizza taking shots at Chelsea. We've sold 28,244,736 pizzas since Chelsea scored a Premier League goal. When Domino's Pizza's taking shots at Chelsea, it's bad. Wesley Fofana for £80 million doesn't get mentioned nearly enough. That's another signing where they completely got it wrong there. A player that's spent most of his time injured. Chelsea knew that he had an injury problem, but they still signed him. Fact, Chelsea haven't scored a Premier League goal since the Strait of Hormuz closed. It's been a long time. And then you got the worst manager that Chelsea have ever had. Formed in 1905, and this is the tip of the iceberg. A suit jacket over a hoodie. So out of his depth. Diary of a CEO. LinkedIn motivational speaker. Marginal gains type nonsense. Make a mockery of us. Sack him tonight. Look, and that's the problem with Liam Rosenior is, at best, he looks like a politician delivering promises he can't keep. He's a great speaker. He goes on the podium and he'll say all these nice things about the club and how he's backing his players. And then you go on the pitch, and then it's the opposite of that. This team just lacks an identity, just playing like an experienced Premier League team. They look like a bunch of kids out there. And that's exactly what happens when you continue to sign these inexperienced managers that have never played, have never coached at this level, never, won any trophies, never coached players that need, look, you're looking at Enzo Fernandez, a player that's won a World Cup, and then you got Liam Rosenior coming in, and he's like, who is this guy? And then I got Mark Goldbridge here. Wilcox should be sacked for putting Delap as our number one striker target last summer. And that's another thing, too. Chelsea, they had the chance to get Victor Osimhen. They didn't go after him. He's arguably the closest striker to Drogba that I've seen in a long time. And they would, if Chelsea had signed Osimhen and in a good center back, we probably would be competing for the Premier League. 2 months ago, Chelsea were 12 points ahead of Brighton. And now Brighton are now just 2 points ahead of Chelsea. It is so bad that Chelsea aren't a big club anymore. We become a mid-table team, and that is the Blue Coat project. Is I don't recognize this club anymore. If you just became a Chelsea fan the last couple of years and you've seen the results, all you know about this Chelsea team is that they're a mid-table team. They're not a big club. They don't compete for the Premier League. When they do make the Champions League, they don't make it far. They get battered by bigger teams. They get bullied. And sure, I mean, they won the Club World Cup, but they were supposed to build off of that, and instead it's the exact opposite. They just completely crashed out, didn't back the club. They thought that Club World Cup actually did more harm because it made Blue Coat think that they were actually doing a good job, when in reality, Chelsea were finally starting to come around, and what they needed was more backing, more experienced players, and instead they just said, you know what, nope, we're fine. You know what, I don't care if Colwell's injured. This team is ready to compete, and everybody knew that they weren't. I mean, Enzo Maresca was ringing the alarm, saying this team is not ready, needs more experience, especially at that injury. And Blue Coat, they just look, they don't care. They're running this like a tech startup. It's just, you know, they keep talking about all this data. You know, Eghbali was criticizing more Bramber, saying this wasn't a well club run, and then just look how it is. You know, they're running this, you know, like it's Silicon Valley. You know, they're looking at data. You know, signing these young experienced players, trying to be more clever than everyone else in the market, when in reality, look, it's not that hard to run a club. You know, you sign good, experienced players, also young players, but these players cost money, high wages, and their structure's like, look, you know, we're not spending that money. You know, they got to fit our structure, our system. And how is that system going so far? It's not working. And then Chelsea got to play Leeds. At this point, I mean, Leeds is in better form than Chelsea. I don't see how we win that match. And Blue Coat, they need to swallow their pride, and they got to sack Rosenior because it's not working out. Anyways, what do you guys think? Do you think that Chelsea is able to turn the season around, make the Champions League? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.